All right, so quick introduction. My name is Theodora, and yes, I am a design thinking advocate. I think that everything I do, even in my personal life, I use design thinking to go through it. It makes me sane for many reasons. One of which is the fact that I am very introverted, but I work in a career that does not require introversion. It needs someone who's out there. So I've had to learn how to kind of segment different versions of myself and put my best foot forward at all times. Like on this call. See, I made up for you people. I pretty, don't I? I brought my best foot forward. All right, so I am a product person. I like to call myself a product person. I'm not a product manager because I think that every single thing comes together to make the whole. But for the purpose of today's conversation, I'm going to be talking to all of us about how we can explore and implement product-led strategies to drive scale in social impact enterprises. I should also mention that I like interaction. So this is going to be a very interactive session. I'm going to ask questions. I want you to ask me questions. So please do not hesitate to ask me any questions. Stop me if you have something that you need me to elaborate on. If I ask questions, please. All right. So the very first interactive question we're going to have here today is, how many people here know about product-led growth or have in-depth knowledge or knowledge that suffices about product management or product as a whole? Show of hands. Quick introduction from what I have in slides here. Product-led growth is basically about making sure that every process, every objective that you have is focused around a product. A lot of people who hear the term product, they think, oh, software as a service, software product management. But I had a conversation with Dr. D sometime last month, and I said the beautiful thing about product is that it is industry agnostic. It doesn't care if it's a software product, if it's a physical product, if it's an enterprise product like this that we're talking about now, social enterprise. It's a product on its own. Product management is about processes, it's about a mindset, it's about methodologies that you take to get to a certain place. Products could be software, physical, anything, literally. You can see here, I have written that product-led growth is a business methodology. You're going to be seeing, going down to the rest of the slides, you're going to see PLG. So PLG is the acronym for product-led growth. So you're not confused at any point. So it's a business methodology that focuses around user acquisition, expansion, conversion, and retention, but basically circling around the product. And in this context, the product could be anything. Let's say, for instance, we're talking about the coffee business in the last session, right? So coffee is the product. The coffee business is the product. It's not necessarily, oh, I'm trying to do revenue, I'm trying to push sales, I'm trying to hire farmers, I'm trying to, no. The focus is the coffee. Every other thing circles around it. And you can see here, so in marketing, a product could be an object or a system or service that's made available for consumer use as the consumer demand increases. And it's anything that you can offer, which is why I said you could look at it as a coffee that you are doing for the business. Or you could say, you know what, I'm trying to drive happiness in Africa. And how do you want to do that? You want to create a sense of community, a sense of oneness across everyone. So it means that the product in this context is Africa, right? Or, you know what, I want to end poverty. Where? I want to end poverty in Ghana. Now, your product is revolving around that service, which is ending poverty. So every other thing, product-led growth does not negate the fact that sales is important, marketing is important. They are all important, but all of them come together to basically feed into the product. And that's what we're going to be exploring here today. Even though, like I said, product is very industry agnostic, in terms of processes, It could also be very different when we're talking about social enterprise, and the reasons are listed in here. Number one, when you do competitive analysis, it's not because of the need, it's not because of, rather, it's not because of the revenue, it's not because you're trying to take market share from other people who are doing the same thing. It is, you know what? So I know Red Cross is here, Red Cross Doctors Beyond Borders, they are trying to promote healthcare in underdeveloped countries or developing countries, right? Now, you come up with a foundation that's trying to target that same, what do I call it, demography, right? You are not going to look at it as, oh, I want to be the top one. I want to be the biggest dog in the game. I want to push Red Cross and the others to the back. That's not how it works in social enterprise, because when you're doing competitive analysis is to understand where are the gaps that the other people have not filled. How can you fill that to be able to support the initiative, which is basically promoting good healthcare in developing and underdeveloped countries. Second one is that the product metrics alone are not sufficient in demonstrating social impact. So in product management, we have so many metrics, right? Oh, we want to know how many users you got, or how many people you have in your platform, how many people you've been able to reach, blah, 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 blah. But when you're trying to track success for social enterprise, is a very different ball game. Very different. I'll touch more on that as we go forward in the other slides. The third point that I'd like you to know is that your target user is not necessarily a super user, but rather an overlooked one. So in SaaS product management, everybody wants to do fintech. Everybody wants to do health tech, ed tech, but primarily fintech, right? So it's this, oh, where's the money? The money's in fintech. Everybody has to do payments, purchases, whatever, e-commerce. Payment, fintech revolves around all of that, and I want to make as much money. Now, this is not saying that as a social enterprise, you are not looking at revenue generation as a metric. I'm just saying that it's not the driving force behind your organization. So what the market that you're trying to target at this point is those people who have been overlooked. The people who, I'm going to tie it back maybe to fintech, because you might decide, you know what, I want to make payments easy for everyone, so that even my great grandmother who is in the village can use the phone she has or whatever to make a payment. Maybe without internet, you know, you want to be able to penetrate those places that do not have internet connectivity, but they still have to make payments. They have to survive. They have to buy things or whatnot. So you decide that you want to build a fintech that's targeted at that. What this now means is that you're not just looking at, oh, I'm just trying to make money from here. You're looking at who are the people who are overlooked, who are the people who are not being tended to in this particular industry that drives into the objectives that you have as a business or an organization, whatever the case may be for you. And the fourth one is that you are not designing for your users, you're designing with them, right? When you're doing your research, you're not doing your research just because I want to see where the gap is or what, but no, you want to be able to understand the problem. And the only way that you can even, number one, before you start to understand it, you have to identify what the problem is. The only way you can do that is when you plug in to the people having that problem, to the people that have that need. So you are not working for them. You are not building for them. You're building with them, because they are able to say, hey, okay, this is what it is. This is how, or these are the things I need. This is where I want to get to. The other day on Twitter, I saw a post about a guy who was, I think, he's Ugandan. I cannot remember, but an East African country, or was it? No, sorry, he was from Zimbabwe, right? He lost his parents at a very tender age. He went into illegal diamond mining. At some point, he was run off the country by the police with dogs all over him, giving him different wounds. He thought he would die. He found his way into South Africa. and somehow found his way to boxing, right? And the very first paycheck he ever got, he used it to get a well for the people in his village. The Rock reached out to him. That's Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, for those who watch Hollywood. The Rock reached out to him, actually came to him because he was impressed by what he was doing. And one thing caught my attention. The guy said, I am not doing this because I'm from there. I'm doing this because I speak to the people who are still there. I know how they are suffering, and I know what they want because they tell me sometimes they just want water, clean drinking water. Now, this is not him saying, oh yeah, I'm from there. I understand. It's like me saying I'm Nigerian and I understand how people in the lesser developed cities live or whatnot. I'm very far removed from it. And I'm conscious enough to know that. So it means that if I have to build something that's going to target those people, I need to bring those people in, not treat them as guinea pigs, but bring them in. You speak with them, you interact with them, you understand the problem that they're facing at a very primal level, and you're able to help them work together with them to solve the problem that you would need to. So unlike traditional product competitive analysis, I've already explained this. When you're building social enterprise products, you must think about market dynamics, particularly competition. And that's in traditional product marketing, right? But for social enterprise products, you have to think through slightly different lens because you are not just, you don't want to take market share, like I said. One of the key metrics for me when I'm talking to stakeholders where I work, I'm always telling them I want us to gain market share. I want us to get at least 25% market share as a start. And then we go from there. I used to work with Workanow. Workanow is the leading travel tech company in Africa. And I was one of the founding product team members. As of today, as at the time I left, Workanow had 45% of the market share. As a traditional product manager, that was my goal. I was able to achieve that, right? But when it comes to social enterprise, it doesn't follow because I have to build to be able to complement what's already in the market, using the instance I gave you about Red Cross and Doctors Beyond Borders. So I'm building to complement what they already have and to increase and improve on the services or products that they have. What are the different paths to growth? There are so many paths to growth, right? If you recall, when I was talking about going through the introduction, I said that sales, marketing, legal, whatnot, they are not discounted. It still is necessary in your organization, but what you're doing is revolving around products. So in light of that, the different paths to growth that an organization can take is number one, the sales-led growth, right? So that's for the organizations that are focused on revenue in some form. You are what do they call it? A revenue generated for profit, what social enterprise, a social cause, you want to be able to drive impact. Yeah, a number of organizations that actually are like that, right? So people like that would probably look at sales-led growth because that's where you have the sales thing. But in the context of social enterprise, or for those who do the not-for-profit enterprise initiatives, what you're looking at here is not, you can convert the sales-led growth to non-revenue if that's not your primary focus. So you're taking the same strategies from the sales-led growth, but you're turning it around on its head. So in this instance, what you're doing is you get and say business development people, analysts, specialists, whatever you choose to call them, you're getting them to go into these places to get the people, right? In Nigeria, there's a not-for-profit organization. I can't remember what they're called. If I do, I'll mention it down the line. But they are focused on abuse, right? Sexual abuse, physical abuse, all of it in Nigeria, and I think in some other parts of Africa as well. And those people, what they do is they have agents who actively go in to the market, quote unquote, to find people who have suffered from this or who are suffering at that very moment. So they bring them in, try to rehabilitate them, take them through therapy. And in so many instances, they take the perpetrators to court on behalf of the abused, right? So that's why I say you can turn the sales-led growth on its head. So it's not just about getting revenue, it's about, okay, I want to be able to get as much of my user archetypes as possible so that I can achieve greater impact. And instead of just getting one person, I can get 1,000 people that I'm able to help at the same time. That the marketing-led growth happens similarly, but instead of using the sales team in this instance, you're using marketing engines, like SEO, search engine optimization. You're doing sponsored ads where you're saying, hey, oh yeah, the not-for-profit is called Mirabel Center. And I know that how I found out about Mirabel Center was through an ad of theirs on Instagram, right? So I saw this ad, it came up on my feed, and it had this video that was very haunting. It made me click on it, watch it, get invested. And we're going to talk about that down the line because these are different processes to be able to hook their different models together anyway. So I was able to understand what they're about. I was able to follow them, and I still follow them till today. I support in whichever way possible, but that's what marketing-led growth looks like. And then for product-led growth, it's a little bit different, right? The methodology and the strategy positions the product as a primary driver of growth, like I have explained. So your product is what that's your, what term can I use for it? Your product could be the service that you want to offer to people. Or if you are, say you're a hospital, or you're an e-commerce brand that has its giving back policy, your product at that point is that arm of your business where you're able to give back to the people. You're able to provide, say, young girls, teenagers with sanitary towels, with hygiene kits, whatnot. That's the product that you're focusing on. You want to be sure that that product goes as far as possible, right? And the primary goal of product-led growth is to create an experience that's so stellar that your users, another word you can use is sublime, right? It gives you this sense of oneness, like it's so smooth that your users cannot help but share the product with others. In the context of social enterprise, it means that you provide support so well that the person you've provided that support to becomes an advocate of yours. That person is out there saying, hey, ASU's doing this. I attended the last conference that they had. This was the impact it had on me. I was able to grow my business or able to do this, I think you'd like to do that as well, right? So the focus for that is basically trying to make sure that the user experience is top notch, right? All the other things here I've already spoken about. All right, so why do product-led strategies matter? We're going to go through this very quickly. And the reason we're trying to go as quickly is because there's a little assignment session that we're going to do a few minutes. So product-led growth helps companies to continue to scale and grow efficiently by automating some of the key processes that you have, like onboarding, support, sales, marketing, etc. And in this instance, it's how do you get the people who you're going to be, who you want to impact? How do you grow that number? How do you grow that space? How do you make it efficient? How do you make it something that can run on its own without so much interference, right? That's what product-led growth helps to achieve. It also focuses on how the process and mindset of these companies can drive incremental growth. And like you can see from the rest, it's focused a lot of things to see there's experience, the employee experience, the people who work with you in your organization. They need to be able to believe in what you're doing. They need to be advocates. That means that whatever you're building, you have so many user archetypes, your employees, the customers, and yourself. So these are just some benefits of adopting the product-led growth strategy. The first one is it is very cost effective. Rather than investing heavily in marketing, taking out huge billboards that's going to give like costs a lot of marketing dollars. Instead of doing that, you can put your money or your mouth into the product that you're building, the service that you're offering, and let that be the thing that does the talking for you. It does the marketing for you. If you build something good, the people would follow. That's just how it works. The second one is that you get a bigger reach, right? So once your product, remember I said it's heavily focused on referrals, word of mouth referrals. Once people start talking about what you're able to offer, people know you as, it's like saying, oh, hey, if you have someone who's going through this or someone who wants to do this, go look at ASEW, they can do that. You've become synonymous with the service that you want to do. So it means that the reach you have is ridiculous, especially given the fact that the world we live in today is a very digital and small world. So the marketing dollars that might have been able to get you just visibility around Kenya, having a good product, a great product, can actually get you visibility in Canada, like Beulah, Canada, Australia, the US, whatever people are, because you've built something great. The word is spreading, right? And the third one is you have very fast feedback loops. A feedback loop is basically a process that you have implemented into your service to be able to get feedback quickly and recurrently from your users and from your internal users as well, which is your employees. And the final one I'll say is a product first. By investing in your product first, you're able to build the deliverable that the market actually wants. The people you're building it for, they actually need this, right? So it's a no-brainer. I've already I spoke about this actually, so we can move forward. I spoke about this, yeah. Thank you. All right, so there's some frameworks that are very important and useful when you're trying to implement a product-led growth strategy. And one of the ones I'll talk about here is a product-led growth flywheel. You can see a visual representation of it to the right. So the flywheel framework basically enables organizations to be able to build on investing the product in a superior user experience. Like I said, the experience is all that matters, designed to generate high growth user satisfaction and increase word of mouth referrals, thereby driving acquisition in whatever form that your acquisition works, right? Now, the first layer of the product, the flywheel starts with activate. So I don't know if people know, there's this process they call pirate metrics, right? We have the acquisition, activation, revenue, retention, and referrals. So in the case of the growth flywheel, the first one starts with activation. We're already assuming that you've done some acquisition, right? So you activate the people that you've acquired. You get them to adopt what you're offering, adopt the products, the feature, the service, whatsoever it is that you need them to adopt. They fully adopted it. They've fallen in love with it. It's like saying virality and hooking them, that satisfaction, the need to want to come back, stickiness over and over again, either because they feel safe, they feel seen, or you're helping them improve their lives. So at that point, they've gone from activation, adoption of the feature, adoring it, to actually becoming your advocate, which is where product-led growth happens. Because once they advocate for you, you don't need to spend much money in that. They are doing it for you because to them it's, hey, I found something good. I'm coming to tell the whole world about what I found, like the story in the Bible. So the next one is called the growth loop. And growth loops are things like cashbacks, referral programs. And from the visual representation that you can see here, we have the first step is we're using, how many people here know of Calendly? If you have meetings with people, the likelihood of you knowing Calendly is there. But for those who do not, Calendly is a product that people use to schedule meetings and actually have meetings, right? So the first step here is the user signs up to Calendly and then creates a meeting request. So let's use the instance of this meeting right now, this conference we're having right now. So Dr. Adeyemi sends out the information, the team at ASU sends out the information about the conference, and we sign up to it using the Calendly, in this case, Zoom invite link. We create a meeting request. So I could say, you know what, I want to have smaller sessions with the people on this call. So I can go there to create a meeting request. And then I send out the meeting link for people to join in, like what they've done here, where they sent out the Zoom link for us all to join on this call. And after that, when the user has received the invite link, they use Calendly basically, because you have to, or maybe select your availability, confirm availability. And after that, it's kind of like with Jot form, where you have the question that says, would you like to schedule a meeting, or would you like to create your own form, right? So that's basically a loop. One user has brought another user, and that other user will bring more users, because if as an end user, so all of you here now on the Zoom call, when you're done with the Zoom call today, you probably get a pop-up from Zoom saying, hey, would you like to create a meeting of your own? And you do that, you create a meeting, the people who attend your meeting get the same prompt and very likely create their own meeting. So that's a loop that just keeps going on, and that helps with the growth. And the third one is the hook model. I was talking about that earlier. So the hook model is, I mean, very pretty explanatory, right? You hook it, you get it, you hook it, you pull it in. It's like throwing the bait into the water, and then the fishes catch on, and then you pull it really in. So it's designed to hook customers in, right? It's focused around stickiness, building a habit forming strategy for your users, something that they are so invested in that they come back over and over again in different ways. It could be, oh, you know what, I'm coming back because this will make me feel safe, or I'm coming back because I want to be able to contribute my own quota to whatever they're doing. It all depends on you. So you see here, the trigger, we have the trigger, which is the first thing. So what's the trigger? Use a Mirabel Center. The trigger is, you know what, we're sick and tired of predators preying on innocent victims, male and female alike. I see something, let's assume that someone I know or myself has been through an abusive situation. I see that ad, that's the trigger. It's triggered me because I want to say, what's this about? Does this speak to what my problem is? If it does, then what's the next action? In the case of the Mirabel Center, the next action for me was to go check out their website, follow them on Instagram, actually even reach out to them, right? Then the variable reward, that's okay, you know what, I've gotten this, I'm happy. Someone hears my problem, somebody sees me, I am not invisible. And that now moves me to the investment stage of this, where I am hooked. I have identified that you know my problem. I feel seen, I feel heard. And I am now able to invest my time, my resources, whatsoever it is that you wanted me, you set out for me to invest in, I'm doing that. So it's either, you know what, I want to send some money to the account there so that they can provide better services to these people, or I want to sign up and be one of them, whatever the case is. That's how the hook model works. So we're supposed to allocate some time within your group. You identify a problem, a need that it could be from any one of you, or something, you know, globally is a need that fits into social enterprise that needs to be catered to, and then come up with a customized product-led growth strategy using some of the frameworks and the other things that we've talked about in terms of strategy earlier. So what we could do is, after this, if Dr. Adeyemi and the rest of the team are so kind, please, if you'd like to, everyone would have to do this individually, send in what, like a one-pager or a two-pager talking about how you're going to address. So since we're not doing a breakout session, it could now address what you are working on your own, right? Or reorganization, send that in. I'm happy to maybe jump on a call with anybody who needs that, or just review it. And we have conversations around that, right? So these ones here, I've already kind of run through when I was talking through the other points, but the key components of product-led strategies is number one is very user-centric. So that's why I said the user is the front and center of whatever you're doing. And because the user is front and center, it means that the user's problem is also front and center. Whatever you're doing, you have that at the back of your mind, on the front of your head, so you know that you're actually solving what they need. The second one is continuous iteration. So you do not just build and it's not I build and I keep and I try to see what, no, it's I build and as I'm building that. That's why we have the feedback loop we talked about. There's a feedback loop where you're getting constant feedback. You're able to improve on your service or whatsoever is the case that you're pushing to the people in the way that you want to. The customer education and onboarding, right? It's making it so seamless. It's literally without effort. Oh, if you want to do this, just click here and you're in already. Or, you know what, just drop your number and that's all you have to do. We'll take it from there. Whatever the case you come up with, customer education and onboarding is important to product-led strategies. Viral loops and referral programs, we've spoken about that. A winning strategy, we've kind of spoken about it as well, because you need to figure out how you're either going to hook them or activate them to now run through the rest of the flywheel process that you want. And then you need minimal barriers and friction, right? What's the barrier to entry? How can I actually do that? Can I register a company? How easy is it to do that? How would I find the people that I want to address? Blah, blah, blah. That comes in there. Early value demonstration. Time to value comes in there, right? I don't want a situation where, or we don't want a situation where somebody comes on your platform and they are unsure of what you're doing or even how you serve a purpose to them. You want to be sure that whatever you're pushing out, your website, when you're physically talking to someone on the phone, on the traffic, whatsoever the case is, within a minute, less than a minute, the person already knows exactly what you are, what you're offering, and how they fit into that equation. There's feature-driven demand, so the product is the whole, the feature is what comes together to make up the product, right? And then we have the ease of use and inbuilt virality, which I've talked about, and focus on beyond acquisition. Next slide, please. Now I'm trying to do really fast. So how does PLG for enterprise play out in practice, right? Because it's easy to hear about the theoretical part of it, but how does it actually work out practically? Number one is having self-service onboarding, right? Which is why I said it has to be something that people can sign up to or join in on without having to go through hurdles or loops. So you need to be able to adopt self-service onboarding processes that allows your customers to sign up and explore what you're offering without having to interact directly with an agent from your organization or a representative, whatsoever the case is. Product-centric marketing focuses, you need to be able to focus on showcasing the features, the key value propositions, the benefits. And this could involve you creating educational content, how to spot predators, or you know what, how to communicate, how to build your brand, whatever is your offering, right? How to stay in your marriage, because that's social enterprise as well. If you're trying to bring down the rate of divorce, that I'm trying to do Matchimoni, that's a value that I'm trying to do. So that comes in there. The free or freemium models. So a freemium model does not mean it's free forever. A freemium model means that there's a version of the service or the product that's totally free. But then if you need more, let's say you need extended therapy, you need to be able to be confident and be able to push yourself out there. It means that you need more services. So there might be a little cost attached to that, and that comes in here as well. So being able to get that allows enterprises to get a taste of the product capabilities without, or rather the users, without making any initial financial commitments, right? It encourages the users to engage with your organization, experience what you're trying to, the value that you're trying to offer them, and then very potentially upgrade to something with advanced features or services. Some of the challenges that you will very likely face is resources, right? Most of the short enterprises are either self-funded or government-funded or public-funded. But what it is that many times you need more people, you need money to be able to push things out there. You need that. So that's a constraint you're going to have, the resource constraint. the ethical considerations. You need to be sure that in the process of trying to solve a problem, you are not betraying your own morals or whatnot. And ethics is not just about your personal morals, it's also about laws, principles, guidelines, guiding everything in life, right? And then we have the measuring social impacts alongside the business metrics. So if you are a company, an organization focused on social enterprise, but you're also revenue generating, you need to be able to find that balance between the both. To determine whether a product actually furthers impact, right? You're doing social enterprise, it means that the key metric, your North Star, is impact. You need to be able to have a strong understanding of how individual metrics come together to form the bigger picture. So the picture you can see here to the right, you have the product manager, in this case, you, if you own the product, you're the product manager. So the activity is, you know what, I want to be able to launch, provide lunch subsidy for schools. And the outcome, I want to end world hunger, right? Okay, so how am I going to end world hunger by providing lunch subsidy to schools? That's a smaller picture. And then it seems that here you say, the product person says, what you're saying is that you want to provide low budget school lunches for people to end hunger. So it means that it's systematic. Okay, so from schools, am I going to be able to give them extra to take back home to their families? How many more schools can we achieve? And you know what, if we're doing this, if the students are eating, it means that the pressure on the parents is no longer as much. They're probably able to save more money, and then they can put food on the table. It's all part of the plan, is being able to see the bigger picture, right? So, and you can see here, it says every big idea looks silly when you put it down on paper, but the truth is, once you put your strategies in place, take it systematically and don't get at it, you're going to get it. It's really that simple. It's not that simple, but it's really that simple at the same time. Right. Thank you so much. Thank you.